So basically at the end, again, a relatively short fight. I thought this fight would incorporate more things. That's why you should have had a fight probably earlier in the film, so that this fight wouldn't have felt so short.
Yeah, and that's where the kitchen sink comes into play.
Right? Yes. This is where I made a comment on the non-spoiler review that the creators threw everything in this movie, including the kitchen sink, and the kitchen sink was in this movie because during the fight, I guess it's an abandoned harbor station that they're fighting in. Batman essentially grabs the kitchen sink and hits a porcelain sink and hits Superman over the head with it. And that was like one of the KO blows. So, oddly enough, Superman was done in by a kitchen sink. Go figure. Whatever. One thing we will say here is who won the fight. Hashtag who will win. Basically, Batman at this point wins the fight. Batman wins the fight by essentially just dropping another Kryptonite bomb on a Superman, which is interesting because Superman had the upper hand there for a while, and he's so quick, but he wasn't quick enough to stop Bruce Wayne from throwing another gas bomb at him. So that's how Batman gets the upper hand, and Batman had made a big spear, and at the tip of the spear was a huge Kryptonite rock, with in the shape of a spear of a dagger essentially at the very top, and that's what he uses there to kind of basically he's getting ready to go in for the killing blow of Superman. Superman's at Batman's mercy. Batman's got his foot over Superman's neck. Kind of cool moment, I guess, if you think about it now. Could have been cooler, but what Batman does do is he takes the tip of the spear and he cuts Superman's cheek, essentially making good on the promise that he would bleed.
There you go.
And so there you have the Batman keeping to his word, making Superman bleed. This is the part that I think was really awesome, that because at this point Superman feels like he's not going to make it. He starts telling Batman, save her, you have to save her. You have to save Martha. And I never realized, Karen, that Martha Kent and Martha Wayne have the same first name.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I never realized that. All these years and years and years and years of reading comics, I didn't even notice that.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and I have a feeling other people didn't, but I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And immediately, because it is his mom's name and because this is where a lot of his rage is coming from, that's where Batman's like, why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that name? Batman's having a mental breakdown here in the middle of this iconic fight. And during this fight, Lois Lane, not to be on the sideline, not to take things lying down, essentially grabs the Daily Planet helicopter and is flying to the fight scene. Batman relents once Lois does make it to the fight scene and essentially tells Batman, because Batman's basically still yelling at poor Superman who can't breathe and is still being, basically he's got Batman's foot on his neck. He's basically still hearing, still trying to tell him, save Martha, save Martha. And Batman's still having a mental breakdown. Who's Martha? Why do you say that name? And then here comes Lois, and Lois is like all of a sudden involved in this, and Batman's like, why did he say that name? Why did he say that name? And she's like, it's his mom's name, man. Chill out. It's his mom's name. Take it easy. And that's when Batman's like comes to his senses, and I think it's really cool that in that scene that he sees that, okay, I'm about to kill this man who hasn't done anything wrong to me, and that's not something that I'm about to take somebody else's family and it's somebody else's family member, just like my family members were taken from me from the start and have been taken from me ever since whatever journey this version of Batman's been on. So I thought it was really cool that he snapped out of it and came to his senses. So I thought that was pretty cool, especially how else are you gonna end this fight? How else is this fight gonna end? So I thought playing off the moms' names was pretty cool because psychologically we are a lot of who our parents are. Bruce had talked about that earlier in the film. The Waynes are hunters, and Batman to a certain extent is a hunter.
He had the spear. He
had the spear. Very cool visual, very cool tying in. And Superman, like we said, is a farmer's dream, a farmer's hope, of purity, of morality, of helping others in need, of being there for people. So it was kind of cool that you had these people who essentially, even though Clark Kent's an alien, he has the Kent upbringing, and Bruce has the Wayne upbringing.
See, Zack Snyder is a good storyteller. He really is.
He can be. That's why it's so frustrating that this movie wasn't better.
Yeah, I see what you mean now. So you expect more from Zack.
Right, because at the end of the day, what you have here, I think you have rage versus redemption. And both characters go into this fight with a lot of rage. Superman, because his mom's being held captive, and he's been, essentially the punching bag, the sphincter boy for, this whole movie, where he's just trying to do the right thing and trying to help people, but everybody keeps taking advantage of him and not trusting him. And Batman's been through whatever he's been through, like I said. So rage versus redemption, and that's really what that fight comes into. Both characters come in with a lot of rage, and they both essentially leave with redemption. Superman essentially doesn't have to kill Batman, and Batman doesn't kill Superman. They both kind of see that, like you said, they both are the same, just standing kind of in different areas of the same side, of the good side, the light side, the hero side. So now that Batman and Superman are on the same page, they both realize that they're heroes. I thought a cool scene or a cool little part was when Superman says, "Well, I'm going to go save my mom, and you can go to the crash site," where all of a sudden now Lex Luthor's experiment, his doomsday experiment, is getting out of control essentially, and is sending out sparks all around the city and causing blackouts, and just not a good scene there. But what was really cool is Batman says, "No, I'll go save Martha. You go to the crash site. That's where you're needed, or that's where we can do the most good." And Superman says, "No, I gotta save her. I can't let her die." And what's real cool, and this is goes into the redemption piece that I was talking about. Batman looks at Superman and says, "I'll make you a promise that tonight Martha will not die."
Yeah.
That was really cool, because essentially what Batman is saying is that I have a second chance now to save Martha. Even though it's not technically his mom, it's still Martha. And that essentially snaps Batman out of this 20-year crusade or 20-year mission that he's been on to save Martha. And now he can fulfill, to a certain extent, in honor of his mom, he can save Superman's mom. He can save Martha. So I thought that was really cool. That whole scene played itself out there. And I don't know if that's the impact that the movie intended to have, but it definitely had an impact on me, and I definitely applaud the movie for that, and that was very well done in that case.
Yeah, that was done really good. Like, once we said again, that was good storytelling right there.
Right, good storytelling. We see Batman kick ass when he goes to save Martha Kent, and again, another funny, cool scene is when Batman essentially, Lex Luthor was correct when he said he was going to burn Martha Kent, because Buddy had a blowtorch on her. One of the mercenaries was sitting there with a blowtorch about to burn her. So Batman decides to basically burst the fire pack that was there, and he jumps on top of Martha Kent to save her. And he looks at her and says, it's okay, I'm a friend of your son's." And she goes, "Oh, I could tell. I figured." She says, "I figured by the cape." So they both kind of laugh at that. See, and those are the kind of things we should have seen more. When these characters are allowed to just be themselves and be their characters, they're cool, they're great. You kind of just stay within the characters and let them write them, and let them develop themselves to a certain extent. As a writer, as a director, as a producer, you're shepherding these characters, and kind of just letting them be great, which is what they've been for years and years and years on the comics, on other movies, and on TV shows, whether it was live or animated.